Air, what's good, everybody? The Lakers lost last night to the Oklahoma City Thunder, which means they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. The Lakers have a problem, and LeBron James might be it. So before we get started, if you could do me a huge favor and drop a like on the video and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Lakers and other sports content. All right, so the Lakers lost to OKC 101-93, and it was pretty close for almost the entire game. I thought both teams performed very well defensively, especially considering that OKC is one of the best teams, not only in the conference, but in the entire NBA. And the Lakers were able to hold them to basically 100 points. So I think that was one really good takeaway considering it was a loss. However, like I said before, the Lakers have lost 4 of their last 5 games. And LeBron James is a part of that problem, but not how you think. Now, before you guys come at me, just hear me out. I am a big Lakers fan and I'm a big LeBron fan. So I'm not trying to downplay him at all. I am perfectly aware that he is averaging 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists this season on 50% shooting. So trust me, he is by far the second best player on this team, and on any given night, he could be the best player. However, I think we all can agree that his turnovers have been out of control as of late. Over the past 5 games, he is averaging 5 turnovers per game, and he has had 5+ turnovers in 4 consecutive games. That is ridiculous. He just has to be better, and he has to get that under control. I know perfectly well that high turnovers is pretty common when it comes to players that, have a pretty high usage rate, and LeBron James has had his hands on the ball for most of his career because he's always been asked to do so much. But it's a lot more apparent now because if you think about it, it's him and Anthony Davis. Those are our 2 quote-unquote superstars on the team. And if they're not playing at a top-tier level, we're finding ourselves in really tough games because our supporting cast doesn't allow that much room for error, which leads me into my next point as to why LeBron James is kind of part of the problem. And I don't think a lot of people, or honestly, I don't think anyone is bringing this up. It's the fact that LeBron James needs inspiration. What do I mean by this? Well, considering that LeBron James is in his 22nd year in the NBA, and for 97% of his career, he has been able to essentially carry his teams to greatness. He's always been the number 1 person to score the ball, rebound the ball, assist the ball, defend. I mean, he's just been asked to do so much, in my opinion, more so than any other superstar in NBA history. Now he's in year 22, and he said this to everyone multiple times. Although he does love the game, he puts in the work, he's only playing for championships. And I think he's realizing he's getting to that point in the season where he's like, damn, he's getting tired, he's getting fatigued. And it's like, yo, I know that the roster we have can't compete for a championship. And I think that mental burden, so to speak, is affecting his play. What's my evidence to support this? Well, let's start with the summer. He played for Team USA where he knew he was competing for a championship. He won the Olympic MVP. Like, he was universally considered the best player in the Olympics. A lot of people might say Steph Curry, but if you really watched it, Steph Curry showed up the last 2 games or so. And don't get me wrong, he played out of his mind and he was incredible. But we're talking about from the start of the Olympics to the finish, LeBron James was consistently the best player throughout the entire time, which is why he ended up winning MVP. But again, as I digress, he was the best player. He was all over the place. He was scoring, he was rebounding, he was defending, he was leading, he was communicating everywhere. And this is with the best players, or some of the best players in the NBA, and against the best players in the world. And he stood out against everyone that was there. So that lets you know he still has plenty in the tank, but he was inspired. He knew that he was chasing something. He had an opportunity to win something special, the highest honor that there is in the basketball Olympics. And he knew that his cast was ready. It was there. I mean, he was playing with some of the best players that the NBA has to offer. Now, translate that into the NBA in terms of being with the Lakers. He started off the season really well. Why? Because he was inspired. His son got drafted. He was playing with his son. That was like a big moment. I can only imagine what it would be like to play long enough to where you're able to play on the same court with your son. That is incredible. He was inspired. Things kind of, started to progress. Bronny James sent down to the G League, rightfully so, by the way. I think he has potential, but, that's something for another video. Anyway, so he got sent back to the G League. Now we're kind of seeing these ups and downs, ups and downs. We're seeing that our role players, the same way we saw last year, just aren't that good. Like, they're not good enough to compete with the top tier teams in the NBA. And he notices this. I think him and Anthony Davis noticed this. So now that inspiration is kind of lacking because he's like, yo, I'm pushing 40. I'm playing 35 minutes a game. I'm damn near averaging a triple double. But why am I doing this if we're not competing for a championship? So in a sense, he is kind of the problem. But at the same time, the real problem, the bigger issue is the front office and their inability to provide a supporting cast around their stars to where they can successfully compete for a championship. That is the real issue. Now, people interpret this as him regressing, which is insane if you think about it. Averaging damn near a 20-point triple-double is regressing for LeBron. That's insane. But seriously, we know that LeBron James' longevity is, top tier, bar none. We haven't seen anything like it. But at the same time, he can't keep this up forever. He has regressed over the years if you really pay attention. I mean, you just look at it. Offensively, defensively, he has declined to a sense. And he cannot carry subpar teams and elevate them to a championship caliber like he used to. He needs help. He is still an all-NBA player, easily a top 15 player in the league. But he just can't contribute on both sides of the ball at this age and at this point of his career. So Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, the front office, they have to acknowledge that, and they can't keep ignoring it and just saying, oh, LeBron James and Anthony Davis will be fine. And I understand it's a lot more nuanced. I'm just a fan. They're, trying to run a business. I know there's a lot more that goes on behind it, but from the optic of the fan, that's exactly what it looks like. It looks as though Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka are perfectly fine with just running it back with the same roster, hoping people get healthy, and just saying, you know what? We have LeBron and Anthony Davis. We're going to be all right. And I think that is such a mistake. It's such a crucial error. And I think it's almost an abuse to look at it like that. LeBron James' contribution at this point of his career should be considered a luxury, not a necessity. And that is the big mistake that I think the Lakers front office is making. Let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy? Am I making sense? Do you think LeBron James is just kind of going through a rut, a tough time? He's going to bounce back? I think so. I think he's definitely going to bounce back. Those turnovers are going to get under control. But not only that, I do think his game is eventually going to start to elevate again. But at the same time, we definitely have to make some moves. Rob Pelinka has to get on the phone, and he's got to make it happen. There are a lot of fire sales going on right now. We're approaching the deadline in a few months. But the sooner the Lakers can make a move, the better. We need to get LeBron James inspired. We need to get Anthony Davis some help. And we have to elevate this roster in order to compete for a championship. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. As always, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Here.